Right now, in this very moment, you are sitting with the most powerful force in the universe. That force is not outside of you. It's not in some distant heaven or in some book or in some other person. That force is you. You are God, expressing itself in human form. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, that can't be right. I'm just me. I have problems. I make mistakes. I get angry and frustrated and scared. But that's exactly the point. The divine doesn't express itself as perfection in human form. It expresses itself as experience, as growth, as the beautiful, messy, wonderful process of becoming. You see, when we say you are God, we're not talking about some ego trip. We're not saying you should go around demanding worship or thinking you're better than anyone else. What we're saying is that the same creative intelligence that moves the planets, that grows the trees, that beats your heart without you having to think about it, that same intelligence is what you are made of. You are not separate from it. You are not separate from it. You are it. Think about this for a moment. Your heart beats about 100,000 times every single day without you having to remember to make it beat. Your body is healing cuts and fighting off infections and creating new cells every second of every day without you having to manage any of it. Your hair grows, your nails grow, your food gets digested. All of this happens through an intelligence that is beyond your conscious mind. And yet it's not separate from you. It is you. This is the God that you are. Not some old man sitting on a throne somewhere judging you, not some distant force that you have to beg and plead with, but the very life force that is animating you right now as you read these words. The problem is most of us have been taught to look for God outside of ourselves. We've been taught that we're sinners, that we're not worthy, that we need someone or something else to save us. We've been taught to fear God instead of recognizing that we are expressions of God. But what if I told you that every single thing you've ever wanted to create in your life, every dream you've ever had, every goal you've ever set, what if I told you that the same power that created the universe is available to you right now to create whatever you want? You might say, well, if I'm God, why isn't my life perfect? Why do I have problems? Why don't I have everything I want? And that's a fair question. But here's the thing, you do have everything you need. You just haven't learned to use it yet. You see, being God doesn't mean you automatically know how to use your godly powers. Just like being born with legs doesn't mean you automatically know how to walk. You have to learn. You have to practice. You have to understand how it works. And the way it works is through your thoughts, through your beliefs, through your consciousness. You are literally creating your reality with your mind every single moment of every single day. Now, I'm not talking about some magical thinking where you just wish for something and it appears. I'm talking about understanding that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. When you change how you think, when you change what you believe about yourself and about life, your outer circumstances begin to change to match your new inner reality. This is not theory. This is not philosophy. This is practical, everyday wisdom that you can use right now to transform your life. Let me tell you about a woman I once knew who understood this principle. She had been struggling financially for years. She would say things like, I never have enough money, and rich people are greedy, and money doesn't grow on trees. And guess what? Her life reflected exactly what she believed. She was always struggling, always worried about money, always feeling like she didn't have enough. But then she started to understand that she was creating her financial situation with her thoughts and beliefs. She started to change how she thought about money. Instead of saying, I never have enough, she started saying, I always have exactly what I need. Instead of believing that rich people were greedy, she started to believe that having money allowed her to help more people. Instead of thinking that money was scarce, she started to see abundance everywhere. And slowly, gradually, her financial situation began to improve. Not because she won the lottery or because someone gave her money, but because she changed her relationship with money. She started making better decisions. She started noticing opportunities that were always there, but that she had been blind to before. She started attracting people and situations that supported her new beliefs about abundance. This is how it works. This is how you use your godly power, not by waving a magic wand, but by changing your consciousness. But here's what's really important to understand. You're already using this power. You're already creating your reality with your thoughts and beliefs. The question is not whether you're doing it. The question is whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. Most people are creating unconsciously. They're running old programs, old beliefs that were given to them by their parents or their teachers or their society. They're living their lives on autopilot, wondering why nothing ever changes. But you don't have to do that. You can wake up. You can become conscious of the power you have. You can start creating your life deliberately instead of accidentally. And when you do that, when you really understand that you are the creative force in your own life, everything changes. You stop being a victim of circumstances. You stop blaming other people for your problems. You stop waiting for someone else to save you or fix you or make you happy. You realize that you are the author of your own story. You are the artist painting the canvas of your life. You are the director of your own movie. Now this might feel scary at first, because if you're responsible for creating your reality, that means you're responsible for everything that's happened to you. And that can feel overwhelming. But here's what I want you to understand. Being responsible doesn't mean being to blame. It doesn't mean you consciously chose every difficult thing that's ever happened to you. What it means is that you have the power to choose how you respond to what happens to you, and in that response, you create your future. You see, God doesn't make mistakes. Everything that happens in your life, even the difficult things, even the painful things, is an opportunity for growth, for learning, for becoming more of who you really are. Think about the most difficult period of your life. I'll bet if you look back at it now, you can see how that experience taught you something important, how it made you stronger or more compassionate, or helped you develop a skill or quality that you now value. That's not an accident. That's the intelligence of the universe working through your life to help you grow and evolve. And you are not separate from that intelligence. You are that intelligence. This means that you can trust yourself. You can trust the process of your life. Even when things don't make sense, even when things are difficult, you can trust that there's a larger purpose at work. But trusting doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean just sitting back and waiting for things to happen to you. It means understanding that you are in a partnership with the universe. You are co-creating your life with the divine intelligence that you are. Your job is to get clear about what you want to create, to align your thoughts and beliefs with your desires, to take inspired action when you feel called to do so, to stay open to possibilities you might not have considered. The universe's job is to orchestrate the details, to bring you the people and opportunities and resources you need to manifest your dreams. But here's the key. You have to believe you deserve what you want. You have to believe it's possible for you, because if you don't believe it, you'll sabotage it before it can manifest. So many people pray for things, set goals for things, work hard for things, but they don't really believe they can have them. They have a part of their mind that says, who am I to want this? People like me don't get to have things like this. But people like you do get to have things like this, because you are not separate from the power that creates worlds. You are that power in individual expression. You came here to this earth plane not to suffer, not to struggle, not to prove your worth. You came here to experience the joy of creating, of expressing, of becoming. You came here to remember who you really are. And who you really are is magnificent. You are a unique expression of the divine. There has never been anyone exactly like you before, and there will never be anyone exactly like you again. You have gifts and talents and perspectives that only you can bring to the world. But so many of us spend our lives trying to be someone else, trying to live up to other people's expectations, trying to fit into boxes that were never meant for us. Stop doing that. Stop trying to be anyone other than who you are. The world needs who you are, not who you think you should be. When you really get this, when you really understand that you are a unique and necessary expression of the divine, you stop worrying so much about what other people think. You stop needing their approval to feel good about yourself. You start making decisions based on what feels right to you, not on what looks good to other people. You start following your own inner guidance instead of following the crowd. And that's when your life really begins to transform. That's when you start living as the God that you are, instead of as the small, limited person you thought you were. Now let me be clear about something. When I say you are God, I'm not saying you're the only God. I'm saying we're all God. Every person you meet, every person you see, every person you interact with is also a divine expression. They just might not know it yet. This understanding changes how you relate to other people. Instead of seeing them as separate from you, as competitors or enemies or obstacles, you start seeing them as other expressions of the same divine intelligence that you are. You start treating them with the respect and love that you would want to be treated with. Not because you have to, not because it's the right thing to do, but because you recognize that there really is no them. There's only us. There's only the one divine consciousness expressing itself in billions of different ways. This doesn't mean you become a doormat. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. What it means is that you respond to conflict and difficulty from a place of understanding rather than from a place of fear or anger. When someone is mean to you, instead of getting defensive or attacking back, you recognize that their behavior is coming from their own pain, their own forgetting of who they really are. You respond with compassion instead of judgment. When someone disagrees with you, instead of needing to prove you're right, you get curious about their perspective. You recognize that they might be seeing something you can't see from where you're standing. This doesn't mean you don't have opinions or preferences. It doesn't mean you don't stand up for what you believe in. What it means is that you hold your opinions lightly. You're willing to be wrong. You're willing to change your mind when you're presented with new information because you understand that you don't know everything. Even though you are God in human form, and human form comes with limitations. You see through human eyes. You think with a human brain. You experience life through human senses. But here's what's beautiful about that. Those limitations aren't problems to be solved. They're part of the experience you came here to have. You came here to experience what it's like to be infinite consciousness in finite form. You came here to experience the joy of learning, of growing, of discovering new things about yourself and about life. You came here to experience the satisfaction of overcoming challenges, of developing new abilities, of becoming more than you were yesterday. None of that would be possible if you started out perfect and complete. The whole point is the process. The whole point is the becoming. So don't be in such a hurry to have it all figured out. Don't be in such a rush to get to some imaginary finish line where everything is perfect and you never have any more problems. Life is not about reaching a destination. Life is about enjoying the journey. Life is about appreciating where you are right now while also growing toward where you want to be. And where you are right now is exactly where you need to be. I know that might be hard to believe if you're going through a difficult time. I know it might sound like empty spiritual talk if you're facing real challenges. But I'm not saying your problems aren't real or that you shouldn't work to improve your situation. What I'm saying is that even in the midst of your challenges, even in the midst of your problems, you are still a divine being having a human experience. Your problems don't diminish your divinity. Your mistakes don't cancel out your godliness. Your fears and doubts and imperfections don't make you any less of an expression of the divine. In fact, it's often through our problems and challenges that we discover our strength. It's through our mistakes that we learn wisdom. It's through our fears that we develop courage. So don't run from the difficult parts of your life. Don't try to pretend they're not there. Face them with the knowledge that you have within you everything you need to handle whatever comes your way. Because you do, you really do. The same power that created the stars and the planets and the oceans is the power that beats your heart right now. And that power is not just in you, it is you. This means you never have to feel powerless again. You never have to feel like a victim of circumstances beyond your control. You always have the power to choose your response to whatever's happening in your life. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you think about what happens to you. And how you think about it determines how you feel about it. And how you feel about it determines what you do about it. And what you do about it determines what happens next in your life. This is the circle of creation. This is how you use your godly power in practical, everyday ways. When something happens that you don't like, instead of immediately reacting with anger or fear or frustration, pause, take a breath. Ask yourself, how can I think about this situation in a way that serves me? How can I respond to this situation in a way that creates more of what I want in my life? This doesn't mean you pretend everything is wonderful when it's not. It doesn't mean you put on a fake positive attitude. What it means is that you look for the opportunity in every challenge, the lesson in every setback, the gift in every difficult experience. Because there always is one. There's always something you can learn, some way you can grow, some strength you can develop from whatever you're going through. And when you approach your life this way, when you start looking for the good in every situation, you start finding it. Not because you're making it up, but because it was always there. You just weren't looking for it before. This is what it means to live as God in human form. It means taking responsibility for your experience without blaming yourself for your circumstances. It means using your power consciously instead of unconsciously. It means remembering who you really are, even when the world is trying to convince you that you're small and powerless and insignificant. You are not small, you are not powerless, you are not insignificant. You are a walking miracle. You are stardust that learned how to think and feel and love. You are the universe becoming aware of itself through your individual consciousness. And that consciousness is creative. Right now, as you're reading these words, you are creating your future with the thoughts you're thinking and the beliefs you're holding. If you're thinking thoughts of limitation and scarcity and fear, you're creating more limitation and scarcity and fear in your life. If you're thinking thoughts of possibility and abundance and love, you're creating more possibility and abundance and love in your life. It's not magic, it's not wishful thinking, it's the law of consciousness. Your outer world reflects your inner world, always, without exception. This means that if you want to change your life, you have to change your consciousness. You have to change how you think about yourself, how you think about other people, how you think about money, how you think about relationships, how you think about your possibilities. And this is where most people get stuck. They want their outer world to change first, and then they'll change how they think. But it doesn't work that way. You have to change your inner world first, and then your outer world will follow. This requires faith. It requires believing in something you can't yet see. It requires trusting the process even when you don't see immediate results. But you can do this. You can change your consciousness. You can change your beliefs. You can change your thoughts, because you are the thinker of your thoughts. You are the believer of your beliefs. You are the creator of your consciousness. Start today. Start right now. Begin to notice what you're thinking about throughout your day. Begin to notice what beliefs you're operating from. Begin to notice how your thoughts make you feel, and how your feelings influence your actions. When you catch yourself thinking a thought that doesn't serve you, that limits you, that makes you feel bad about yourself or about your life, consciously choose a different thought. Don't argue with the old thought. Don't try to convince yourself it's not true. Just gently redirect your attention to a thought that feels better, that opens up possibilities rather than shutting them down. Do this over and over again throughout your day. Every time you catch yourself thinking a limiting thought, choose a more empowering one instead. At first, this might feel strange or forced. Your mind is used to thinking the old thoughts. It's going to try to go back to them automatically. But with practice, with persistence, you can train your mind to default to thoughts that serve you rather than thoughts that limit you. And as your thinking changes, your feeling will change. As your feelings change, your actions will change. As your actions change, your results will change. As your results change, this is how you use your divine power in practical ways. This is how you create the life you want instead of just accepting whatever life gives you. But remember, You're not trying to control everything. You're not trying to force outcomes. You're not trying to manipulate the universe into giving you what you want. What you're doing is aligning yourself with the flow of life instead of fighting against it. You're cooperating with the creative process instead of resisting it. You're working with the universe instead of working against it. And the universe wants to support you. The universe wants you to succeed, to be happy, to live a fulfilling life. Not because you're special and other people aren't, but because you are an expression of the universe. When you succeed, when you're happy, when you live a fulfilling life, the universe is experiencing success and happiness and fulfillment through you. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe expressing itself as you. This means that what's good for you is good for the whole. This means that taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. You can't give what you don't have. You can't love others if you don't love yourself. You can't help others reach their potential if you're not reaching yours. So stop feeling guilty about wanting good things for yourself. Stop apologizing for your dreams and desires. Stop making yourself small to make other people comfortable. You have every right to want a beautiful life. You have every right to pursue your dreams. You have every right to use your talents and abilities to create something meaningful. In fact, it's not just your right, it's your responsibility. You have gifts that the world needs. You have perspectives that no one else has. You have the ability to contribute something unique and valuable to the human experience. But you can only do that if you step into your power. You can only do that if you stop playing small and start living as the magnificent being that you are. This doesn't mean you become arrogant or think you're better than other people. What it means is that you recognize your inherent worth and value. What it means is that you honor the divine intelligence that is expressing itself as your life. When you truly understand that you are God in human form, humility and confidence become the same thing. You're humble because you recognize that your individual ego is just one small expression of something much larger. But you're also confident because you know that you are connected to and supported by the creative power of the universe. This is the balance you want to strike in your life. Humble enough to keep learning, confident enough to keep creating. Humble enough to admit when you're wrong, confident enough to trust your inner guidance. Humble enough to appreciate what you have, confident enough to reach for what you want. And what you want matters. Your dreams are not accidents. Your desires are not random. They are the universe calling you toward your highest expression, toward your greatest contribution, toward your most fulfilling life. Don't ignore them. Don't dismiss them as unrealistic or impractical. Don't let other people talk you out of them because they can't see what you see. Your dreams are sacred. They are messages from the divine part of yourself guiding you toward your purpose, your mission, your reason for being here. Follow them, trust them, take action on them, not because you're guaranteed success, but because the very act of pursuing your dreams changes you. It awakens qualities within you that might otherwise stay dormant. It opens doors that might otherwise stay closed. It connects you with people and opportunities and resources that support your highest good. And even if your dreams don't manifest exactly as you imagine them, even if the path unfolds differently than you expect, you will be changed by the journey. You will become more of who you're meant to be. You will discover capabilities within yourself that you didn't know you had. That's worth any risk. That's worth any temporary failure or setback or disappointment. Because you are here to grow, to evolve, to become. And you can't become more of who you are by playing it safe and staying comfortable. You have to be willing to stretch yourself. You have to be willing to try new things, to go to new places, to meet new people, to take on new challenges. Not because growth is always comfortable, it's not. Not because change is always easy, it's not. But because growth and change are the natural state of life. Everything in nature is constantly growing and changing and evolving, and you are part of nature. When you resist growth and change, you create suffering for yourself. When you embrace growth and change, you align yourself with the natural flow of life. This doesn't mean you have to like every change that happens in your life. Some changes are difficult and painful. Some losses are hard to bear. Some transitions are scary and uncertain. But even in the midst of unwanted change, you can choose to look for the opportunity. You can choose to ask, what is this experience teaching me? How is this situation helping me grow? What new strength or wisdom or capability is this challenge helping me develop? When you ask these questions sincerely, you'll always find answers. You'll always discover that even your most difficult experiences have gifts hidden within them. This is the miracle of consciousness. This is the miracle of being human. You have the ability to find meaning in everything that happens to you. You have the ability to create purpose out of pain, to transform suffering into wisdom, to alchemize your experiences into growth. This is what it means to be God in human form. Not that you're perfect and never make mistakes, not that you never feel pain or fear or doubt, but that you have the power to work with whatever life brings you and transform it into something that serves your highest good. You are not a victim of life. You are a participant in life. You are a co-creator with life. You are life itself, expressing and experiencing and expanding through your individual human form. And that life force that you are is inherently good. It's inherently loving. It's inherently creative. It's inherently abundant. So any experience you're having that doesn't feel good or loving or creative or abundant is just a temporary forgetting of who you really are. It's just a temporary disconnection from your true nature. But you can reconnect at any moment. You can remember who you are at any time. You don't have to wait for circumstances to change. You don't have to wait for other people to treat you better. You don't have to wait for anything external to happen. You can choose right now to remember that you are a divine being having a human experience. You can choose right now to align with the love and creativity and abundance that is your true nature. How do you do that? You start by being kind to yourself. You stop judging yourself so harshly. You stop expecting yourself to be perfect. You stop comparing yourself to other people and finding yourself lacking. You start treating yourself with the same compassion you would show to a good friend who is going through a difficult time. You start speaking to yourself with the same love and encouragement you would give to someone you care about, because you do care about yourself, don't you? Or if you don't, you can learn to. You can develop a loving relationship with yourself. You can become your own best friend instead of your own worst critic. This is not selfishness. This is not narcissism. This is recognizing the divine within yourself and honoring it with love and respect. And when you truly love and respect yourself, when you truly honor the divine within yourself, it becomes natural to love and respect and honor others. Because you recognize that the same divine spark that lives in you lives in everyone else too. This is how you change the world. Not by trying to fix other people or control other people or convince other people to be different, but by becoming the most loving, most authentic, most powerful version of yourself that you can be. Because when you do that, when you really step into your power and live from love instead of fear, you become an inspiration to others. You give them permission to do the same thing. You show them what's possible when someone remembers who they really are. And that's your gift to the world. That's your contribution to the human family. That's how you fulfill your purpose and your mission and your reason for being here. You don't have to save everybody. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to solve all the world's problems. You just have to be who you came here to be. You just have to express the unique gifts and talents and perspective that only you can bring. When you do that, when you really live as the God that you are, you create ripples of positive change that extend far beyond what you can see or imagine. You touch lives in ways you'll never know about. You make a difference that will last long after you're gone. And you start right now. You start today. You start with the very next thought you think, the very next word you speak, the very next action you take. You are God. Not someday when you get your life together. Not after you fix all your problems. Not when you become perfect. Right now. Exactly as you are, in all your beautiful, messy, glorious humanity. Remember that. Live from that. Create from that. love from that, because you are so much more magnificent than you know. The truth is, most people live their entire lives never realizing the incredible power that resides within them. They go through their days reacting to circumstances, believing that happiness comes from outside sources, thinking that their worth depends on other people's opinions of them. But you don't have to live that way anymore. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can choose to see yourself as a victim of circumstances, or you can choose to see yourself as the creator of your experience. You can choose to focus on what's wrong with your life, or you can choose to focus on what's possible. You can choose to live from fear, or you can choose to live from love. And here's what's amazing. The moment you make that choice, the moment you really decide to live as the powerful, creative, divine being that you are, everything starts to shift. Not because the external world suddenly becomes perfect, but because you start seeing it through different eyes. When you know who you really are, when you understand your true nature, problems become opportunities. Setbacks become setups for comebacks. Failures become learning experiences. Criticism becomes information you can use to improve. Rejection becomes redirection towards something better. This shift in perspective changes everything. It changes how you feel about yourself, how you interact with other people, how you approach challenges, how you pursue your dreams. It changes the very quality of your experience of being alive. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to wait for anyone's permission to make this shift. You don't have to convince anyone else that it's true. You don't have to have scientific proof or religious authority or anyone else's validation. You just have to decide to see yourself differently. Now, some of you might be thinking, this sounds too good to be true. If we're really gods, why is there so much suffering in the world? Why do bad things happen to good people? Why do children get sick? Why is there war and poverty and injustice? These are important questions, and they deserve honest answers. The truth is, being God doesn't mean being in control of everything that happens in the world. Remember, we're all God, every single person on this planet. And many people are using their creative power unconsciously, creating from fear instead of love, from scarcity instead of abundance, from separation instead of unity. The suffering in the world comes from our collective forgetting of who we really are. It comes from the illusion of separation, from the belief that we are isolated individuals competing for limited resources instead of interconnected expressions of one infinite consciousness. But even in a world where there is suffering, even in a world where difficult things happen, you still have the power to choose your response. You still have the ability to be a force for love and healing and positive change. You can't control what other people do, but you can control what you do. You can't eliminate all suffering from the world, but you can choose not to add to it. You can't fix everyone's problems, but you can be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. And when you really understand this, when you really get that your individual consciousness is both unique and connected to the whole, you start to feel a sense of responsibility, not guilt or burden, but a joyful responsibility to use your gifts, to share your love, to contribute to the healing of the world. This is what purpose feels like. This is what it means to live a meaningful life. Not to be perfect, not to have all the answers, not to never make mistakes, but to consciously participate in the great work of love that is always happening on this planet. Every act of kindness you perform, every moment of compassion you offer, every time you choose love over fear, you are helping to heal the world. Every time you treat yourself with respect and care, you are modeling self-love for others. Every time you pursue your dreams with courage and determination, you are showing others what's possible. You might think your individual contribution doesn't matter much in the grand scheme of things, but you would be wrong. Your life matters, your choices matter, your love matters. You are having an impact whether you realize it or not. Think about the people who have influenced your life the most. Were they famous celebrities or powerful politicians? Probably not. They were probably ordinary people. A teacher who believed in you, a friend who supported you through a difficult time, a stranger who showed you kindness when you needed it most. You have the power to be that person for someone else. You have the ability to change someone's life simply by being yourself, by expressing the love and wisdom and creativity that flows through you when you remember who you really are. And here's something even more amazing. When you live this way, when you really embrace your divine nature and express it in the world, you don't just help other people, you fulfill yourself. You experience the joy and satisfaction that comes from using your gifts, from making a difference, from living in alignment with your true purpose. Because your true purpose is not some specific career or role or achievement. Your true purpose is to be yourself fully, authentically, courageously. Your true purpose is to express the unique aspect of divinity that can only be expressed through you. No one else can do what you came here to do. No one else can love the way you love, create the way you create, see the world the way you see it. Your perspective, your talents, your experiences, your insights, they are all unique gifts that you bring to the human family. But you have to be willing to share them. You have to be willing to be seen, to be vulnerable, to risk being judged or criticized or misunderstood. You have to be willing to stand up and say, this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is what I have to offer. This takes courage. It takes faith. It takes a willingness to trust yourself even when others doubt you. But you have that courage within you. You have that faith within you. You have that trust within you. Because all of these qualities are aspects of the divine intelligence that you are. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and choosing love anyway. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Faith is having doubts and choosing to believe anyway. Trust is not the absence of uncertainty. Trust is being uncertain about the details while being certain about your ability to handle whatever comes. You don't have to eliminate all your fears and doubts and uncertainties before you start living as the powerful being that you are. You just have to be willing to move forward in spite of them. You just have to be willing to take the next step, even when you can't see the whole staircase. And every time you do that, every time you act from your power instead of your fear, you strengthen your connection to your true nature. You build evidence for yourself that you really are capable of creating the life you want. You develop confidence in your ability to handle whatever challenges come your way. This is how you grow into your godliness. Not through some dramatic transformation that happens overnight, but through consistent daily choices to align with love instead of fear, to focus on possibilities instead of limitations, to trust your inner wisdom instead of external authority. And the more you practice living this way, the more natural it becomes. The more you choose thoughts that empower you, the easier it becomes to think empowering thoughts. The more you take actions that align with your values and dreams, the easier it becomes to live with integrity and purpose. You are literally rewiring your brain, creating new neural pathways that support your highest good instead of your deepest fears. You are reprogramming your subconscious mind to expect success and abundance and love instead of failure and scarcity and rejection. This is not just positive thinking. This is not just wishful fantasy. This is practical neuroscience. Your brain is constantly changing based on your thoughts and experiences. You can direct that change consciously instead of letting it happen randomly. When you understand this, when you really get that you have the power to reshape your own mind, to change your own programming, to become more of who you want to be, everything becomes possible. You are no longer limited by your past conditioning, by your old beliefs, by other people's expectations of who you should be. You can literally become a new person while still being yourself. You can keep all the wonderful qualities that make you unique while letting go of the limiting patterns that hold you back. You can honor your past while creating your future. And your future is so bright. Your potential is so vast. Your possibilities are literally infinite. Not because I'm trying to make you feel good, but because it's true. Because you are an expression of infinite consciousness. And infinite consciousness has infinite potential. The only limits you have are the limits you accept. The only barriers you face are the barriers you believe in. The only obstacles you can't overcome are the obstacles you won't try to overcome. So stop accepting limits that don't serve you. Stop believing in barriers that keep you small. Stop avoiding obstacles that could make you stronger. Start accepting your magnificence. Start believing in your potential. Start embracing challenges as opportunities to grow. This is your birthright. This is what you came here for. This is who you really are, not a small, limited, powerless human being who happens to have some spiritual potential, but a divine, infinite, creative force that happens to be having a human experience. Live like it, love like it, create like it, because you are God, and God is you. And this conversation between the infinite and the individual, between the eternal and the temporal, between the divine and the human, is the most beautiful dance in the universe. And you are dancing it right now in this moment through the very fact of your existence. So dance with joy. Dance with purpose. Dance with the full knowledge of who you really are and what you're really capable of. The world is waiting for your dance. The universe is eager to express itself through your unique movement. And you have everything you need to dance magnificently, starting right now.